Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, I have plans, maybe next week. Got an email here from a viewer. He says, hey Corey, I love your stuff. So I went out with this girl last Saturday, and we had a great time. She was twirling her hair around her fingers and the whole 9 yards. He says, but I texted her on Wednesday to hang out this weekend, and she gave me the whole, I have plans, maybe next week. So when a girl says maybe next week, I would say, great. What day are you free next week? ? And send that back. Because she's saying maybe next week, that's a counter, but you want to see if she, because the whole idea is you want to set a definite date. And he says, I think I may have screwed it up at the end of the date. She was certainly down to kiss, and we made out passionately. But after the kiss, I pulled her close to me and began kissing her again. He says, at that moment, I was thinking it could bring me into the bedroom. He says, but she kind of pulled away after that and said, now, you got to let me go now. It's like, I talk about this stuff extensively in my book about sensory acuity, reading body language, knowing when to go in for the kiss and knowing when to hang back. And in this particular moment, you said so yourself, I think I screwed up. Because you're kissing and you're pursuing, you're making out with the girl, and then what happens is, like there's a chapter I talk about in my book, women are like cats. Sometimes women will get tired of it and they'll back off, or if you're walking down the street holding hands, they'll let go of your hand. And you got to let it go when they do that. And in this particular case, she probably backed away, and you wanted to keep kissing, and so you went from hanging back and just enjoying being in the moment and being frisky with one another to pursuing. And so you ignored the body language because you're like, oh, she started kissing me. So it's like guys automatically assume that from that point forward, kissing at any moment in time is always appropriate with a girl. And it's not, because obviously she got uncomfortable. She wanted to chill out for a bit and hang. But you pulled her in and started making out with her and got all touchy-feely and gropey like a stalker, basically, like a needy, insecure guy. And it was inappropriate in that moment, so she backed up. And you communicate that you're insecure about yourself and you're needy when you do that. Because a guy who's comfortable with himself, a guy who has women throwing themselves at him all the time, he's never going to pull a girl in when she pulls back or she leans back after they've been kissing. He says, I'm wondering if you can detect what I did wrong. I'm like, well, I think I pretty much just explained it partially. Partially, when you were trying to plan a second date and she said, hey, I'm busy, you didn't bring up, okay, well, what day are you free next week? Because she's the one that suggested next week, and your job as a man is to gently lead the interaction to where you want it to go. Men are direct and get to the point. And so she's kind of throwing things up in the air. Well, I'm busy, but maybe next week. And so if she says maybe, you say, great, what day are you free? ? And if she's unsure or she doesn't really want to, she'll say, oh, I don't know, I'll have to get back to you. Then you just say, hey, great, get back to me when you figure it out. And then you got to give her the space to do it. Now, if she never gets back to you, it means that you pretty much blew it at the end of your date. But if she does get back to you and you got to give her the space to do it, and more than likely she might make you wait a few days, and then you got to, because she probably doubts that you really are confident, because she has some inkling that you're needy and you're insecure because you exhibited some stalker-like behavior when you pulled her in to kiss her when it wasn't appropriate in that moment. And so the idea is that if she doesn't call you back, then it means you screwed up and you totally blew it with her. But where a lot of guys go wrong in this instance is they'll when she says, oh, maybe next week, they'll go, okay. And they never try to nail her down. And again, that's expressing weakness, because a dominant male is going to make definite plans with a girl, or he's going to make no plans at all. He's not going to accept a maybe next week. And because a lot of guys will take that and go, oh, okay, great, I'll call her next week. But the confident guy will make definite plans right on the phone, because he's not going to want to wait till next week to find out whether or not she wants to see him again, because he knows if she really wants to see him again, she'll make plans right on the spot when she throws out the maybe next week. And he's going to say, hey, what day are you free? That's the best way to handle it. And so he says, also, if I say we could always hang out at my place and she says, no, not the first time, what does that mean and how do I... So, in other words, you're trying to get her to go right back to your place on the first date when you're... And it's just too much too soon, dude. It's like you gotta read the signals. And I talk about this extensively in my book. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And so more than likely, you probably made her feel like all you really cared about was getting in her pants. And that you're not very successful with other women. Because guys who aren't successful with other women, they rush things. They rush trying to get to the bedroom. Instead of just letting it evolve and gently leading her based upon her body language and her physiology and how physical she's being during the date. It's like you ignored all that stuff and you just like went right for the, like a lot of guys, they go right for the pussy and the hand goes right to the crotch when it's inappropriate, and you blow it when you do that. It's like you gotta slowly let it evolve. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And so what were you doing? You were focused completely on the pussy and getting laid, instead of focusing on just having a good time, taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and when she backed up, letting her have her space, and then chit-chat for 4 or 5 more minutes, and then you just say, I think you need to bring those beautiful lips over here again and kiss me. And she'll smile, and she'll lean back in and kiss you, and you start making out. That's what I talk about in my book. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And so when she pulls back, you got to let her have that space. And you talk, you chit-chat, because James Bond always knows how it's going to end later in the evening, which is her naked in his bed later. But when you reach out and you pull a girl in like that, you're basically acting like a guy who doesn't get laid very often and who's not very successful with women. And it causes her to feel like this guy's going to probably try to force me to do something before I'm ready to do it and I'm comfortable to do it. And she's been out with enough guys that do what you have done, which is try to do too much too soon, try to rush things. And she knows what those guys are like. Those are the guys that constantly blow up their phone and they never go away and they act like stalkers. And so that's going to cause a woman to not trust your masculine core and back up. So what I would do if I were you is, like, obviously next time around, it's like if she said maybe and you just went, okay, well, then you got to call her the next week. If you've already done that, you've already done that. And so a week goes by, you call her, try to set another definite date. If she doesn't, or she gives you the I'm not sure, or I'm really busy, then just say, great, when are you free? That's the best way to handle it when a girl is being difficult. Like, just, great, what days are you free? Let her tell you, pick a day that you're free, and make a definite date. Like I said, if a woman likes you and she wants to see you again, she'll make definite plans with you. And if she doesn't, she'll stall and throw obstacles and give you maybes and I don't know, I'll have to think about it, that kind of nonsense. So if you have a question you want to ask me, go to my website, click the Contact Me tab, which will be on the left-hand side of your screen. Send me 1 to 2 paragraphs max, and just give me several weeks to get back to you with a response. If you want to talk to me right away, the quickest way to get my help is to book a paid phone coaching session. You can do that by going to my website, click the Products tab, which will be at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. If you want to get a digital version of my Kindle ebook, on my website, underneath the email sign-up box, the box has a link that'll take you right to the Amazon Kindle download page for my book. Once you get there, if you don't have a Kindle device, just download one of their free e-reader apps for whatever electronic device you want to read my book on. And if you appreciate the value of the information I offer in these video newsletters, the articles on my website, and my ebook, you can show your appreciation right now by going to my website, and on the Wibia toolbar at the bottom of your screen, click the PayPal donate button and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information. I will talk to you soon.